All right, with the top all prepped, it's time to laminate it. So when I'm doing a laminate where the edge is laminated, the first thing I'll do is put the laminate on the edge and get that all set, and then I'll put the top on and then route that off. I want to have a piece long enough to go all the way around without any seams. Now, if I were being real careful with the quantity of laminate, I would just get a piece long enough to do this, and then a little bit wider to make the edges. To get a long enough piece to have one long strip, I have to have a lot more laminate than I actually need. In this case, I went to the flooring store and to order a laminate that is an exact match, and we couldn't find it in any of the brands. So I went through their boneyard and picked out a piece that would close enough for my needs, and I was able to get it very inexpensively, and they were all long pieces. So I have enough in this case to make one continuous piece. So that's easier to install. If I didn't have that, then I'd have not only the one seam where it comes together, but I'd have a second seam because I do it in two shorter pieces, and then I just pick the best side to put the seams on. But in this case, I can do one long strip. So I want to rip off 2 inches, and then I want enough to overhang the top as well. And so I'll probably make that one right around 22 inches. Give me plenty of overhang to cut that off. So just kind of planning my cuts to make sure I use the material most efficiently. It's a nice piece of laminate, so I'll have a lot left over. So I want to cut it efficiently so I can save that for future projects. So there's a number of ways to cut laminate. One way, a tool that everybody needs, it's a pretty inexpensive tool. It's just a laminate cutter. It just has a carbide tip on it, and you just score the laminate with a straight edge, and then you break it off. And that's how I'll do the rectangular piece. I'll cut straight across with that. To do a long, narrow rip, that can be a bit tedious because you do have to score it a bunch of times, and you have to have a long enough straight edge. So a great tool for that, for doing that is a laminate ripper, and this is by Vertex, and it's got a guide on it that the laminate slips right up into that slot, and then with the wheels, these are the cutters, and you just pull it right down, and it will make your cut perfect. These are kind of expensive. I think they're somewhere in the $100 range. If you're doing laminate professionally, obviously this is a tool you're going to have. But easier than this, if you have a table saw setup, is just to run the laminate through the table saw. It cuts real nice and real easy. So there's a guide. I don't need to use a tape measure. It's adjustable, and so I can just set it either in inches or centimeters of what I want to get. And so the top is 1.5 inches, so I think I'll make it close to 2, just under 2. I want to cut the edge banding to the proper length. It's going to come around and come together, and I want to go ahead and have it so that as I work around gluing it on, that it comes together and touches, and not try to cut it after it's kind of glued up. Now, I don't do laminate in any kind of production form. I've done a fair amount of laminate in the past on my own houses and for a few clients, but typically I hired this out to a guy who does laminate all the time, and so they probably have a lot of techniques for doing this that would make it a lot simpler. But I'm just using woodworking techniques, and I just need to figure out how long this needs to be so I can cut it to the proper length. So to do that, I'm going to just make a mark. I'm going to join this this will be the back edge. So I'll just make a mark somewhere in the center here. because of the way this is going to be installed, this will be the side that's kind of up against the wall, so it won't be seen as much. So I'll just take my laminate, I'll put it right on that mark to start, and I'm just going to just make sure I start on the mark, and I'm going to just press it tight all the way around. Make sure I'm not leaving any slack. And I'll just mark the laminate right there. And then I could use the scoring knife just with a straight edge and score this a couple of times and break it. I can also use these laminate cutters, and I'll cut a scrap piece here and just cut through it this way. I don't use these a lot for finish cuts. These are more to do my rough cuts that I'm going to route. So in this case, I think what I want to do is I want to make a nice cut, and so again, I could score it with this, but I have my power tools set up, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this on my miter saw. That gives the miter saw gives just absolutely a perfect cut.